Hello friends, you're watching India Today Tech, and in this video we're going to unbox the Infocus Vision 3. The phone has a very thin bezel at front and comes with dual cameras. But the good part is that the phone is priced under 8,000 rupees. Since the phone is not launched yet, I'll leave the exact price in the description below. As for the specs written at the back, the phone has a 5.7-inch display which has HD resolution and 18:9 aspect ratio. Also, Infocus mentions the screen to body ratio is very high, that is 82.4%. The dual camera setup has a 13 megapixel main sensor and a 5 megapixel secondary sensor, and at the front there is an 8 megapixel camera. The phone also houses a big 4000 mAh battery which will be required for a display of this size. So before this, the cheapest phone to have an almost bezel-less design was from Micromax. Let us see how the Infocus Vision 3 competes with the other phones in its price segment. So let's take the Infocus 3 out of the wraps. The phone seems to have a metal unibody design, as there are antenna lines also placed at the back. Though it's not a Corning glass on the display, but it is a 2.5D curved glass probably, because it looks thick and slightly curved at the edges. Let's turn on the phone and take a look at the other box contents. We'll come back to the phone. First up, there is a quick start guide that tells you how to set up the phone. Then there is a warranty card, a micro USB cable, a SIM ejector tool, and a power adapter with 1.5 ampere of power output. Now, the phone has taken a lot of time to power up, as you can see. So before we get to see the home screen, let's take a look at the ports. At the back, the phone has a fingerprint scanner and it has a matte black finish. Though it is made out of metal, but the look is very similar to that of the recent smartphones like the Billion Capture Plus that also comes with dual cameras. Now the speaker is placed at the back and not at the bottom. At the bottom there is only a micro USB port and a primary microphone, and there is a 3.5mm headphone jack at the top. There is no secondary microphone, so it doesn't do noise cancellation during calls. The power button is on the right and the SIM tray is also placed above it. Let's take a look at the slots you get on the phone. So it's a hybrid SIM card slot, which means you can add either the second SIM or micro SD card. The volume rocker is placed on the left. Okay, so this is the first screen you see when you first boot up the device. There are a lot of languages supported by the phone, and it not only includes international languages but Indian languages as well, including the Hindi, Bangla, Marathi. So the phone is all set and this is what it looks like. Of course, the display is the main attraction, having very thin bezels, but then again, I don't see the bezels to be very thin so as to call it a bezel-less phone. But still, Infocus has tried to make it as bezel-less as possible. Before anything, let's check the fingerprint scanner speed, because I'm very curious to check how fast is the fingerprint scanner. We have seen this in the previous Infocus phone as well, that it wasn't very fast. And same is the case with the Vision 3 as well. It's not very fast. Let me show you this. So it does take about a second to get the screen. It is not as fast as what we have seen on the Redmi smartphones. Now let's take a look at the detailed specs of the phone. The Infocus Vision 3 has a 5.7-inch display with a resolution of 720p or HD+. Under the hood, it packs a MediaTek 6735 chipset with 2 GB of RAM and 16 GB of storage. On the camera part, the phone has a dual camera setup with 13 megapixel main sensor and a 5 megapixel secondary sensor. At the front, it has an 8 megapixel shooter. The battery on the phone is 4000 mAh. The phone runs Android 7.0 and there is a skin on top from Infocus that makes it look a little different from the stock Android and very similar to what we have seen on Coolpad or Micromax smartphones. So far it doesn't look very cluttered. Also, the recent apps menu looks something like that of Xiaomi smartphones. In fact, there are many features taken from Xiaomi smartphones. For example, you can edit the navigation bar and there is a suspension ball that comes up on the display using which you can use the navigation keys. Even the icons in the setting menu look very similar to that of Xiaomi phones. The app opening is fairly fast, it's not slow, and you can see that switching between the apps is also not that laggy, but there is a very strange inherent animation when you open or close the apps. But we'll be able to tell you in detail in the full review how is the performance of the device. Now anyways, let's take a look at the display quality on the device. We're running a video on YouTube, and as you can see, it doesn't fit the screen area properly. There are black areas left at the corner, which means that the phone software does not expand the YouTube video to fill the screen. But as you will see, the quality is not that bad. It's a slightly glossy display, so the colors pop out nice, and the reds and the blacks are quite deep. Also, the viewing angles of the phone are satisfactory. They're not very amazing, but they are not bad at all. The brightness of the display is also not bad for indoor viewing, though outdoors you may struggle in direct sunlight, but in most scenarios you'll see that it would work just fine. Not very good, not very bad either. Okay, now let's take a look at the cameras on the device. Let's first take a look at how closely can it focus. So this is the minimum distance I need to keep from the object to grab a clear focus, but I see that the phone does quickly focus to keep the object clear and sharp, which is a nice thing. Let's take a photo and find out how the details on the photo. Since the phone has dual camera, it has some other modes as well, like the wide angle mode and the portrait mode, which will blur the background. We took some shots with the dual camera on the device, and here are a few samples. And as you can see, the details in the photo are not bad, and the color reproduction is also quite accurate. Let's switch to the front camera and take a selfie and find out how is the 8 megapixel camera on the device. It does have a lot of modes, so I'll switch to photo mode because the beauty mode was on by default. So this image has been blurred, but this image has come out clean. The details are nice, as you can see, and the color of the skin is also accurately captured by the camera. But then again, we are sitting in a good light environment. I'll put some low light shots here. So this is the Infocus Vision 3, guys. It's a small and a handy phone that comes with a thin bezel design, but then again there are some plus and minus points to the phone that we showed you in this video. We didn't really like the software that much, though it is not slow, but it does seem to have copied some of its stuff from other companies. But the build quality on the phone seems to be pretty decent, and so does the display quality. The cameras on the phone also seem pretty decent for the price, but the front camera really stands out with an 8 megapixel sensor. But then again, we'll need full testing to tell you comprehensively about the smartphone's camera. We'll be comparing the Vision 3 with Redmi 5A and other smartphones in the coming weeks. So stay tuned, subscribe to our channel, and if you have liked this video, hit the thumbs up button. Thank you for watching.